Hello, viewers. How are you all? Definitely excited because today we are at episode 3 of TikTok, Talk with an Industry Expert. You know that in our show we like to invite some of the industry experts to share their ideas, their pain, their gain, and how they were able to make it happen for the newbies, so that others get inspired. So today we have a very, very, very special couple, an engineering couple. We know about doctor couple. We hear about a doctor couple more often, but today we have invited a very successful young entrepreneur and engineering couples to share their ideas and views and tips with us, so we all get inspired, right? So let me welcome my friend Mahshadul Alom Rupam.
Hey, Galib. Thank you very much for inviting us. It is a wonderful opportunity for us to share what we have been going through. Well, we'll be continue to stay on online to share a lot more. Hopefully, we'll have some fun in our conversation.
Thank you. And at the same time, I would like to invite Rokeya Hashi. She's Mahshadul Alam's wife, and with us here, joined all the way from Virginia.
Hi, Galib, and hi, everyone. Thank you for inviting us, Galib. And we'll talk and enjoy and do the. So hopefully it will be a good session.
Perfect. Now, I got to give a little bit of background about these two amazing persons. Well, they're a couple. They're an engineer. They have worked with many top companies, especially Mahshadul Alam Rupam. He has worked for one of the largest government consulting firm, Booz Allen, at their management and lead. He's also a cloud and DevOps engineer. We'll hear about the future of DevOps and how DevOps is changing the world. At the same time, I know Rokeya. She's also worked for some of the biggest government contracts in DC. You know, it's a beautiful life out there. I know that they share 2 beautiful children and they have a nice house. So I couldn't resist myself to invite you guys and hear your story and share with others. Because what you guys have done is great, and I think there are a lot of young couples, right, in our community, in South Asian community, who are struggling in New York City. You often hear they're doing odd jobs and things like that. So I think you guys are a true inspiration for them. So we like to hear that how you guys were able to make it through, and what tips and suggestions you have. So going to Mahshadul Alam Rupam. So I know that you have literally 10, 12 plus years of IT experience. Where did you start? Where was the starting point?
Very interesting questions. I think this is the most common conversation we started. So I started my technology careers in 2000 with the Grameen Tech. It's founded by Dr. Mohammad Yunus.
Oh, wow.
This is a very early technology adoption in Bangladesh. Then after, I also worked for AppTech and other IT industry. In between, I was also working in a financial industry back home. I went up to the financial industry as a management level 2. That was like, as I said, it's in year 2000 was my starting point. In between, I switched my little bit experience with the financial organizations. But once I moved to USA, I went to pursue my further degree in applied math and computer science. When I was doing it, I started working with the Citigroup.
Okay.
Within a very short period of time when I came in US, I was very fortunate enough to get an opportunity immediately. More after US Census. I actually worked for US Census 2010. I still carry hats and buttons with me. I was like a period of time. Right after graduation, I moved, well, that's my graduation after 10 years because I finished my master's in back home around 2001. But right after my graduation in 2011, I moved to Virginia. So throughout my life, I had a lot of financial industry experience. So I also consider it in a fintech technologist too, because I've been doing so many financial technology and then financial industry experience. Capital One is another one. I was an engineering manager for several years. A lot of DevOps cloud practices. I actually started from my career on that particular industry organizations. And then, some other government contracts, the GSA, USCIS. I also was doing a lot of DevOps, senior management role. Ended up lending to Fannie Mae. This is actually a world largest mortgage company. And they're not lending money to customer like human as general peoples. They're lending money to the banks. So I actually lead the DevOps cloud strategy, playing a management role there, leadership role there, with several different initiatives, infrastructure, and then also the cloud, InfoSec. There's multiple teams involved, part of my organizations. So that's
absolutely. It's funny because we have worked. You've worked for two companies together, Capital One and USCIS, and you were really heavily involved with high-end automation, even like 7 years ago with Capital One. And I hope some of our colleagues are also watching us. And we were the king at Capital. But we're gonna know.
Rokeya is also in Capital One too. I don't know you know that she was there too, but you were not that time.
Yes, Rokeya was the Rokeya Bhabi was also there. I never got an opportunity to meet her at that time. But definitely I knew you. And then finally, I worked with Rokeya Bhabi as well at USCIS. She was amazing. And there was like little bit. I didn't have that opportunity to kind of stay there and work, but she was amazing. We'll know more about it, more about your cloud and all this great experience that you have in your bucket. But before I go there, so Rokeya Bhabi, you are a successful IT consultant, right? You are supporting, you are adding a lot of value to the household for sure. Because I would love to have a successful, wife who's bringing a lot of money, and not only that, you're also a successful mother, right? Kids are already going to the coding school. This is what I was talking to Rupam over the phone the other day, right? That's amazing. Look, a successful mother, successful parent who actually know the depth of this technology web can only put their kids at this grade into a coding school, right? So that only can come from a successful parent who are by themselves who are doing it. So tell me how hard it is being a mother and working for a Fortune 500 company and making sure that and the household is happy and all these.
So I must say that I'm blessed enough that I have a wonderful boyfriend, not only husband.
Oh, boyfriend. Oh no. Ooh.
Yeah.
Right.
And also my parents is here.
How long have you guys been married for?
We have been married for
2 years, right? 20 years.
2007, December, we married, but we know each other for
more than 12 years. So this is our 13-year married. And also we met each other 21 years before.
22 years.
Yeah.
Amazing. So I don't want to interrupt you. Go ahead, and we want to hear your story.
Okay. And also my parents is here, and they have been helping me. So it was blessing for me all the time because my kids never went to daycare, so I can work with the peace of mind that I don't have to worry about them. And also that we are working in IT, and it is also blessing that we have remote option. So I do remote work twice a week. So that is really helpful. So I'm managing my home and also outside, and I'm balancing. And also when you are working in IT, I believe you don't need to justify you, and also you need to always do your goal and finish your work, that is enough for you. You don't need
Yeah.
to like,
Look,
someone that what you are doing. So that is also blessing. So it was easy for me to managing because
that's amazing. So getting this support from your in-laws is a great help because kids are obstacle. Small kids are obstacle for a lot of young women that I know. Some of them are my students, and of course, you can definitely claim that you are blessed to have a boyfriend like
yeah,
husband like Rupam brother. Because I have students, smart girls who grown and raised up here with proper communication, but they don't get the support from their husband. Their
yeah,
husbands actually don't believe in them that they can actually get into an IT industry and bring a great value to the family. So they just they don't get that support. I'm the I'm literally the witness of these stories when I so anyways, let's not go there. This is a great support that you were both supporting each other. So, Rupam Bhai, I know that Bhabhi is also involved with a lot of extra curriculum. She's very popular in the community, and you guys are very social, right? So, how do you see that being social? And you also support her, I know, a lot of cases. So, tell us what you guys do for fun.
Well, yeah, absolutely. This is fun for me. And during the work time, 9 to 5, I'm engaged with my work. Well, sometimes it goes left and right. Uh, I normally I'm an early riser, so I can manage a little more work in the morning. But I always feel amazing feeling of being a support to my families, especially my wife, my daughter, my kids. My daughter has been following moms too. They've been doing all classical dance. They've been participating, performing. They're actually doing it voluntarily. Those are the performance. They're not kind of traditional professional, but they are more on their mind is a volunteer as a professionals, and they feel a lot of amusement on that to do this too. So I'm behind of them because I want to make sure that they need to have an amusement, and I really appreciate that. I admire those people has talent. Artist, singer, any art is a talent. I don't have it. I'm not an artist. No, not I can
But you
write.
were a supporter. You were a supporter. I know that you take
That's why I'm
Bhabhi
here.
to give her
Not
rights.
yeah, not
supporting
I'm a
is also a talent.
Yeah, now I'm a writer or a singer or anything. I cannot even art a single. If you ask me to draw a bird, I'll probably do horrible arts. But that's why I admire anyone is an artist. That's really admirable because it's not something you can get it by practice. It's a natural. People born with some talent. That's what the artist.
Well, no, wait a second. I don't art, but I also design those pipelines of DevOps. Those are also talent. Those are also
Yeah,
designing.
obviously those
You
are
really
also
need to
art.
think about the
So
loopholes and things like that.
exactly. But one is a creativity. Another one is you are a flat deliverables, right? So yeah, I understand your point. And even though the talking, right? Your presenter is artists too. So who can present better? They are a good artist because they are artists of vocal artist, right? So they
Right.
they present good. So you could be a good vocal artist that you are a good presenter.
Yeah, that's another thing. That communication is presentability and appearance. It's also, I feel like, at least especially for our community, for the South Asian community, that's a drawback. I mean,
Yeah,
people are shy. People don't like to expose. People don't like to go in front of the camera. I think this is kind of a natural skill that we should grow, and we should get that from our parents. Now, if you're talking about our parents are old. I grew up in Bangladesh, and it not happen. So how you guys are doing it in terms of raising your kids? Like I know you put them into the coding skill, and why? What's going on in your brain?
I have a principle. I definitely put the principle behind the families. I says two different things you need to remember. One is your culture, which is an ethnicity of culture, and another one is the value. So value include the religion, relationships, respect. Those are the things very important to me. So I say, your culture. I deliberately says it clearly says to my kids, you cannot forget that your ethnicity is a Bengali. Doesn't matter what you are. I love to talk in Bangla, but right now you have an audience, so I don't want to make sure that it's mismatched. I'm trying to put them in Bengali a lot. My wife is behind of me, says, don't talk English with the kids. But I put them in the Bengali class. They take once in a week Bengali class. They take once in a week Arabic class. They are learning Quran. Both of my kids. I make sure that they talk with my all relatives. They know my all relatives. So they remember those who are their cousins, aunts, second aunts, third cousin, and also. And then value your relationships, right? So mixed. It doesn't matter where you live. You are identified as your ethnicity. Doesn't matter where you live, you are identified as your culture. So go there. In the United States, it's a country of opportunity, a country of the multicultural people. Everybody should identify their ethnicity, culture as an identity. Even if I become I'm not gonna be there. Obama became a president of the United States, but he's an African man. He's not an American, right? So all we need to remember that. It's a message for everyone. We need to keep that the principles for all of the kids that were rising. Because I had a lot of families who are saying, "Oh, he born here. He's an American." Absolutely. What is ethnicity? Make sure that you give them, because people start thinking that, "Oh, okay, these kids are born here, so you're completely American. They're not Bengali or anything else." No, that's the wrong concept. If you look back. The Hispanic community, they are identified as a Hispanic.
Yes, no, absolutely. So going to Hashi Bhabi. Bhabi, when did you get into IT industry, and why did you get into IT industry? Rupam Bhai is in IT industry. You could have done something else. You could have been a doctor, musician, whatever. We know that you have talent, but why did you especially get into IT industry, and when?
Yeah, so I finished my master's in Bangladesh, and also my subject was literature. So it was not in my thought that I'll be an IT person. So always my thinking was I will be teaching, and it was my dream to do the PhD with phonetics. So when I came here, and before I came here, I did also diploma with computer IT. So when I came here that time, so I was thinking what I can do if I do any job. Doesn't matter retail or anything, the schedule will not be similar every day. So that time I realized and think that if I go for IT and I learn it, though I have the diploma, so I can use it, and if I learn it, then I can spend more time with kids. So now my kids are not missing me that much because they go to school till 4 p.m. and by 5:30 I come back home. So they're not missing me that much. So and also my schedule is very flexible. So I can do my work anytime in the day. So I don't need to be always online 9 to 5.
Yes. But
So
don't you feel
that
pressure that you are working for one of these biggest government client, and I work there personally, so I know the system is very, very complicated. It's the most complicated.
Now I'm working for FDA. So now I'm working for FDA. It's been really challenging because in technology world, you know that you have to learn new thing every time. If you switch your project also, so you need to learn the new tools and technologies, and you need to make yourself updated. So that is challenging, but you have to have the passion, and you have to have the interest that you will be something, and you can provide your kids also the valuable time that they are not missing you. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
Now
now that
you seem to be so relaxed and easy and being able to manage all of them at the same time and happily, and that's amazing.
yeah.
And I know that having an engineer husband helps a little bit,
Yeah.
but
Obviously.
so
Obviously.
coming back to Brother Rupam. Let's talk about cloud, because we really technology show. We like to talk about a little bit of technology domains for new people, especially who are looking for a career. And I know that we came from heavy automation background and then software development background, a lot of agility and continuous integration, development, releases. And I know the software development industry has been changed over the last 5 years. If you look at it, it's all Kanban and all continuous delivery. There are a lot of clients who are still adapting, right? Majority of the portion of the stack of this industry already adapted continuous integration, DevOps, cloud. That leaves a challenge to a lot of older folks who didn't upgrade themselves, who learned QA or who learned BA, who's been working there for 20, 30 years. They're facing a lot of challenge right now. So we really want to know, because you've been managing these technologies, not only managing technologies, but you've been also managing people, teams, projects. So we really want to know from you that where is this software industry going in terms of the new change?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's something that we really need to focus on that. But before we even get to that, where the industry moving, I would request everyone, make sure you get the basic of technology, understanding of the technology, the basic of the software engineering. If you don't get the basic of the software engineering and you just try to just jump in the middle of somewhere else, what's going to happen? You fall apart. So, very number one rules. Know the basic of the software engineering. Know the whole life cycle of what is actually the computer, the whole technology engineering industry is moving. So that's the one thing. It's not going to take so much time to know the basics, right? What are the wings of the technology, right? I'll come to there. In around like 1994-5, I started learning like DOS. Okay, then another called Lotus. Those kind of technology we started, and I was one of the guys who didn't have enough money in the pocket, but I had a desktop in my home that was a 3.5 gigabyte memories. We used to use 1.44 blue color floppy disks. Ping pong game was like an interesting thing, and I used 7 or 8 floppy disks to migrate the game from one of my friend's laptop to my laptop. That's the era, right? We started learning to go to school to learn the MS Word. I remember still like back in like early 90s or mid 90s. Those are the things we started learning. Well, it's always pays off right now where I am because of that basic things learning. Well, nowadays you cannot even think about people learning Word, MS Word or DOS. No, things are changing. After 20 years, people will not 20 years, even 5 to 10 years, people will not even going to school to learn the programming language because people will born with the languages. So I would say whoever is right now in middle age or early 30s, or like, if they want to survive and continue thriving with the technology, they need to know at least one programming language, that for sure. Because the next generations coming, they're actually started programming language. I'll tell you, I introduced my 8 years old with the programming language. They start learning it. My daughter, they are learning the programming class outside of their regular class. Once in a week.
That's amazing.
I mean, I know that what's going to happen because when our age, I was 20s, I went to the programming language, Lotus, DOS. It's like interesting things to know. I don't know, you know that A+ certificate, all other stuff. The time was there when we were.
Absolutely. Yeah. Even right now, kids can do a lot of things because there are games development. They develop characters. It's programming is actually fun.
Yeah, that time there is no editors, so the compiling was happening in different than right now. You have an editor, you type it. There's right now it's called object-oriented programming. There was no object-oriented programming. C++, C was the kind of language that people use. Even the back then before different other languages. So come to the technology trend. Couple of things is very important to know. There is a two area of the technology. One is a product management technology area. One is a core engineering. So product engineering and then core engineering, two different areas. Under the product engineering, there is a program manager, project manager, scrum master, business analyst. I'm not going to go there. People can go there. Whoever is a good communication, writings, thoughtful about the designing the programs. Like there's another thoughtful engineering. Well, there's a gray area called designers. Like there's a lot of people will laugh. Well, computer industry also has a designers. They could be in product management and engineering. But the whole engineering sector has a multiple different areas. There's a core development, front-end development, back-end development, test engineers, database engineers, cloud engineers, so many things, right? Okay. So I'm going to be a lot more talking about the core engineering aspects, right? I put everyone is an engineer who is doing at least line of code or review the line of codes, right? Nowadays, there is no concept of manual testing that, oh, okay, someone give me this color of pen, you just need to tell me it's a black and white. No, that doesn't work anymore. Even the software test engineer needs to understand the code. In my experience, we don't hire anybody if, even though I have it, other guys as part of my peers, they're hiring a tester. They're mandating that they need to know a programming language. If they don't know that, they're not going to hire. So, just keep that on mind. Everyone whoever coming in a different way of job, they need to know the technology. Otherwise, it's not going to be long. So trend-wise, first thing is I would really want to see that, nowadays what Galib, you and I am talking right now is all data. Anything we are raising a hand or throwing in any statement is a data. Data science is a big industry. Within the data science, there is a multiple different sectors called data engineering, data analysis, data virtualizations, data analytics,
Data scientists.
data science. Data administration. There's many different areas, and all those things fits behind the scene in artificial intelligence, machine learning. It's the booming industry. People are using it, and a lot of patterns and analysis coming out. It's a huge feature on that. Number one, it's not I'm just saying it number 1, 2, 3. It's not that which one is number 1 or 2. Another area is a cloud. Well, the big reason is cloud bringing a lot of efficiency. It cost efficient, and then plus it helps the organizations to it's a managed service, and then in a sense of industry, they're looking at that. Okay, I don't have to have a concern about the security. I don't have to concern about the patching. I don't have to have a concern about the maintaining and managing the data center or the infrastructure. The cloud, like many other companies, GCP or Azure or AWS, those are the even Ocean. There's many others, small companies are coming up. Even Oracle is also going into it too, right? So those clouds are being used, and then people are knowing cloud with some technology background, they are actually thriving a lot, right? There's another industry called cybersecurity. It's actually important. It's never gonna go, and it's important specifically for the regulatory organizations, governments, even though large companies, they want to make sure that their environment is protected, and the cyber threats are coming all around the left and right. So that's also a very, very high demand industry. Well, in an opportunity more or less, but it's a huge thriving sector. Other one is called the DevOps. Well, I don't want to put it as a role. DevOps is actually a culture, the way of industry runs. It actually does the engineering process management. Well, it started from the planning to even the production release to the monitoring of the post deployment. It helps to do whole lot of automation. So, at some point we talked about automation. People say, oh, automation is a test automation. Well, no. Platform as a service, infrastructure as a service, even though, all other things, the configuration management, there's all other things are nowadays automations. People using Terraforms, CloudFormation templates. Those are all the scripting language, which is more of like JSONs, needing to provision the all automated infrastructure. There's called configuration management. There's Ansible, Chef, Salt. Those are used for all of the resources. Think about that. If you have a 900 server in an organization and you wanted to manually install the softwares and provision all the resources, how cumbersome it used to be. Well, you can do a click, maybe 5 minutes. You have an infrastructure and you have all software installed with a simple script. The things are really great with the DevOps. Those are the 5 different sectors are the industry people need to look at. Well, and then another call is like a software engineering always there. It's a greenfield. If you are a core software development, you could be part of DevOps. So DevOps is like in whole operations and developments. So they are the core full stack engineers who work on that particular. So I would say these are the 5 areas we could definitely look at and see the future.
So for those who folks from South Asia, especially from Bangladesh and Nepal and minority folks who lives in all around US, especially New York, folks tend to have more folks tend to have more interest toward QA. They feel like it's easy to get in. So QA is also now affected by the whole automation, like process automation, like go DevOps. Now it's not the same QA that you used to do anymore, right? And also the development. So what do you think that people who wants to just to get into IT industry as a QA or as a developer, what do you want to tell them?
Yeah, no, I think I would say, there's also another opportunity. So here is one thing: the 5 fingers is not equal, right? And then not everyone become a CEO of the company, right? And then any company has a different type of positions, right? A city, you need a royal families, a rich family. A city, you need also the people who are cleaning. So you need everyone, right? But I'm saying in an industry, the test automation is a very, very important part. So in a DevOps, out of the 5 different components in a DevOps, the one of them is the test automation. So in a DevOps, it's one of the area called automation, all automations, which is a infrastructure or pipeline. Those are the automations, right? Another part called cloud engineering. Other part called SRE, site reliability engineering. So site reliability engineering more works for the post deployment and app performance monitoring, and then also if there's anything going on in productions, right? And then cloud engineering is more likely they're considering to do all the cloud infrastructure engineering perspective, policies and rules. But then another component is called test automations, because if you don't have the test automation in place, if you do not have that skill automation engineering in your organizations, or even I don't want to put it like it's a role. Test automation engineer could be done by developers. Most of my team, my organizations, they're all are developers. They're writing their test scripts. If anybody has the skills, they know the programming language, they could do the development in the same time they could do the test automation scripting. And that's a very, very important. Otherwise, you cannot really deliver the pipeline automated go up to the production, because testing is needed. So this is another interesting field. I would say, that's we need to consider that is a reasonable IT opportunities, and especially for our country people, whoever doesn't have the computer science background, it's still okay. A lot of people do have a computer science background, but they are successful in technology. It doesn't stop, because you don't have to go in a 4 years honors degree or 2 years master degree to be a software engineer, unless otherwise you put your head down, learn through that, deal with that every day, half an hour, 6 months to a year, you'll be an engineer.
So you're saying that the world is changed, that you just learn Selenium and one of those manual testing tools and get a job. That world is gone. People really focus on learning the core engineering, whether it is QA or DevOps or development. You need to know the entire ecosystem, how it works.
Yeah. I mean, as soon as you are doing things, a lot of people hire people as an engineer. A lot of some portions of their activities is an automation development, script development for the validating your functionality, validating your API calls, validating your the code, all of the stuff. Right? A lot of automation engineers writing unit tests. It just put a hat on your head. That's all needed. Don't try to profile it. Oh, that's a little bit non-technical. No, test automation engineer also is a technical. You need to have the mindset.
Of course, that there's a big buzzword called shift left. We want testing to start from day one, from the unit level, and every step should be automated, because otherwise there is no other way to accomplish this continuous delivery. Right? It has to be automated, has to be executed throughout each code drop, and that's how the testing world is demand to have testers now. But anyways, that's a lot of technical talk. I know. I want to go back to.
Let me say one thing, and I just want to call it out, because it's if whoever listening that they might have a misconception. If you're talking about the automations, absolutely needed, but there is always that look and feel, manual interruption involved to making sure that something you are seeing. So whoever does it, there is some portion that is always the manual verifications. You just an eye, okay, things looks good, because sometimes it's the cost effective versus doing automations, not doing automations, and then sometimes it's cost effective not doing automations. So it's coexist. Like it's a shifting from.
I know, and there are especially 508 compliance testing that you cannot really depend on automation much. There are corporation rely on more manual efforts when it comes to those specific kinds of testing, a specific kind of development. So, there are manual jobs always going to be there. But I know my brother Rupam it's a core technical guy, and he likes to talk about technology. Keep talking about technology. But I really want to go back to Hashi Bhabi and throw some humors there.
Okay, sure.
So my question to you, Bhabi, who runs the pipeline at house? Who's the boss?
In the home?
In the home, yes.
Obviously me.
Obviously you. Wow, and you just let her be your boss?
No.
No, I don't take that responsibility.
No, so don't you guys have, like, both of you are kind of IT engineers, you do a lot of math before you take some decisions. Don't you run into the collisions or clash?
Actually, I was kidding. So if you want a successful married life, you have to sacrifice and also always be supportive to each other. That is the key word for successful married life, I believe, because no one is the boss. If you are staying together and loving each other, that is enough. And and also caring is also more important, right? And respect each other. Yeah.
Wow, so I feel like to get married right now after listening.
You should. You should.
Especially, I can think of having, you both coming out of initially with the QA background, looking for defects all the time. Like, hey, your shirt color is not good. Hey, you are wearing a lipstick, doesn't look good. So I can only imagine those kind of, clash that you guys will be having. But it's fun. It's fun being a happy couple.
Yeah. Instead of doing clash, it's better to complement each other, understand each other, respect each other. That is more important.
So how did you guys meet? Were you guys engineer before you met, or you became engineers together?
Obviously not. I was in teenage that time, so.
How old are you?
So that is an interesting story. So
we want to know.
Yeah, he was he was in a group theater, involved in a group theater. Also, I always go there with my sister, my elder sister, and I was doing grooming for them with the dance. So I did workshop. So that's how we met. And that time also, I don't know that I like him or not.
So you guys met in a theater and became a group. Wow, that's a lot of things that we don't see there. How? Rupam bhai, go ahead. Tell us how.
In fact, I was never been an artist. Okay, a couple of my friends was going in a group theater, and they said, why did you join? I don't know, some reason, maybe I just went there. Basically, my family, my brother, my couple of sisters, they're cultural, and my brother is very cultural. He's a different guy. I just don't want to go there. He's a successful person as a professional. So I just, a couple of my friends said, let's go do the group theater. And she was there for giving a workshop. Like she's been teaching that time, even though she just finished her high school. She's been starting her dance learning since she's 3 years old. It's just a lot of history going on. So I saw her. I feel like this girl looks like could be interesting. After a couple of months, I brought them up in an ice cream shop with her sister, and I tried to be dramatically propose her. After that, she took 2 years to say, yes, and I was very patient to be staying.
Because the high school graduate from back home, right? Only 10th grade. After 10th grade.
Yeah. So that's how it's ended up, and then we stay long, and we're very committed. And actually, I do have some kind of rules and principles in my life. I do follow something which may not fit for everyone. So I was thinking, We need to get some establishment. We need to get some sort of positions before we come out, become a coach. So we stayed, and it's not that easy in our culture. If you like someone else, yeah, but I would say, whatever happened, it's happened for good. That's why we are here today. And eventually in 2007, we got married. And we have two wonderful kids. My daughter is 11. She's amazing. My son is 8. He's amazing too. They are the two pets at our home and make us happy and laughing.
That's amazing. I can only imagine. So right now, this episode was presented by Transfotech Academy. Right now, we're gonna just watch a video, and maybe our moderator can just play that video, a quick 30 minutes video. All right, so we are doing a lot of good work. We are actually cultivating engineers, keeping the mindset that really technical skill sets are needed. So we really have a deep education process, that we were saying. I know you used to do a lot of trainings as well, so you know the depthness of really cultivating good engineers, not just one particular entirely. So. Right. Are we having some technical difficulties? All right. So here you go. So I think we are almost toward the end. I'm just gonna, ask two last questions that, especially to Rupam bhai, what is your future of platform? Have you thought about owning your own company, or do you have an entrepreneurship mindset?
Yeah, so I think it's definitely very interesting things. I never give up that thought, but at this moment I do not have any specific plan. As I said, first of all, I would just want to give you a lay of land on that. Everything is talent. Become an entrepreneur is a different talents. Like you hear a lot of story, right? Very, very illiterate person become a big entrepreneur, very talented gold medalist, wanted to be an entrepreneur and failed abruptly. So as I said, I give a respect that entrepreneur is not something about the education only. It's also a natural talents to be an entrepreneur. Okay.
Absolutely.
So not everyone can be an entrepreneur, right? Well, in my person, I want to give you some kudos to you, what you have been doing it. First of all, any giving educations. Well, I know that you need to, sorry. Extremely sorry. I don't know, some reasons somebody's keep calling. Is this something my side or your side?
I'm not sure if it's your side or my side. I don't see it. I think it's your side, but that's fine. You can live with that.
So I want to really give you the kudos. Anything you guys are providing in education, it is important. And then it helps the communities, it helps the people. It's not about the only community, it's helps the people who ever wanted to learn, who wanted to have a careers. Like there is a two-way of education: conventional education, non-conventional education. You are offering some non-conventional education. I think it's a lot more futures coming, a lot more way of doing that non-conventional education. Nowadays, having a conventional education doesn't give you all things to be a professionals, right? The conventional education give you a structure, but the whole outside of the decorations, you need to get to the non-conventional educations to be successful. So the way you are doing it, the things that you are offering, excellent. But whoever learners, I would say, just have the mindset not to get a shortcut path, not to just say, okay, I want to get $100,000 salaries by package. You get the guidelines, you learn by yourself, and be a befitting contenders to go outside and fight with the world and work as an engineer. So that's what I was looking at, and that's a great there are great things that you guys are doing it. But make sure you also message out that, hey, don't try to get a shortcut. Other thing is about my entrepreneurship. I never know. I have many other thought, but I never implement. As I said, I may not be a good entrepreneur. I have someone is behind of me always saying, by the way, I had a good academic record from my university. I was a valedictorian from my university. She always says, you got to be doing something. I says, I'm doing it. A lot of people doing making their future by doing entrepreneurship. I think I see myself for what I am right now. If I don't use that, I could not be here. But if I use these two other places, then I have to compromise because my brain cannot use two different areas same time. So it's not about, it has some limitation too. So right now,
there might be a time if Rokeya Bhabi keeps supporting you the way she is right now, there might be a time where you can take a break and think about something on your own.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. I want to be an entrepreneur also, but let's have I'm still learning. I have a lot more to learn. So,
well, the learning never ends in this life. We keep learning. It's a journey. So I want to ask you the same question, Bhabi. So what is your future planning? Now you're working, you're pretty settled with 2 kids. You already raised them well. Are you going to keep working, or do you have your own ideas that you would like to, nurture?
Yeah, that I also involved with the cultural things. So I'm a dancer, classical dancer. So I'm enjoying more dancing rather than my work also. That is true. So I have planned in future to do something with the dance for the community. And also I did community work, also volunteer. I always do the volunteer work, and I taught kids. So yeah, that is my future plan. And also for career, I'm learning every day new things, and whatever challenges coming in the project or jobs, I'm learning. I try to learn new technologies. Like right now we are using Salesforce, so it is also new clouding system. So I'm learning that one. So every time is learning for future and present. But most of the time, I believe I want to live in present. Don't think too much about the future, because I want to live in present first. I want to enjoy my life at present time. So we are together. This
is something I find really common between you two. You guys, both of you are such a down the earth type of person. Like let us do work. Let us be happy right now. Let's not think about what's gonna happen.
I would like to add, Galib, you know what? This is her myth. This is her belief. She wants to live in future with the presence. That's excellent. But I want to add, it's not completely my belief. I really do not want it to see so far down, but I wanted to see a couple of steps forward.
Yeah, so 2-3 years, 5 years is enough to think about, not thinking too far. Then you will losing your time and you are saving and not enjoying your moment. So that is not my goal.
Yeah. So constructive way of sorry about that. Constructive way of thinking present, past, and then some steps forward. Otherwise, you could fall apart if you don't know what you are stepping forward. But if you're really looking too much forward, then you get blurry.
This is exactly engineering mindset. Having a roadmap year ahead, execute, go to the next one, next epics, and next epics, and next epics. So it comes who you are. It reflects in your real life, right?
Yeah. And also, I believe, I also always tell my kids that be a good person in life, not try to be successful all the time.
Yeah, that's more important.
Yeah, you have to be a good person in life. That is more important. And if you're a good person, all the success will come to you. You don't need to look behind.
Yes, absolutely. So being a parent, it's not easy. Parenting is not easy anymore. And that is your full-time job, because I can only imagine. I'm not a parent yet, but I can imagine that giving education about that morality, ethics, it has to come from parent, and it has to come right now when you guys are doing it. If you don't practice it, you won't be able to teach others, at least kids. They are tough right now. So it's amazing. It's like once you are successful in one area together, have that bonding and understanding that reflects into every other areas. So yeah, great. I mean, I wish you awesome life ahead. We're about to the finishing of this episode today. I couldn't be more proud to have you guys both here and bring a real success couple story to the folks who are a couple, who will be a couple in the next couple of years, just like me, I guess.
I don't know if we are success or not, but we are happy. Alhamdulillah.
Well, that's the definition of success. If you're happy or successful, what else you need?
Yeah, that's true. Absolutely.
Well, man, I'd like to thank you both and thank you all. Do you guys want to share some last thoughts before we close up?
No, absolutely. I want to say, so there's two different things that are going on right now: personal life and careers, right? I don't want to really focus myself too much because, if I am successful, then others should have tell. And I should not tell people that I'm successful. Same thing, like I should not ask people to respect me. If I'm respectable, people should respect. But one thing I could tell you, in a personal life, conjugal life, you're not married. That's why maybe you don't know, but you need to learn that. A personal life, especially if you are happy, you want to be in a happily conjugal life, always be ready to say sorry. Always be ready to accept that you making a mistakes. Always ready to not to get your angerness more than a minute. Go approach your partner's wife, say, hey, it's okay. Whatever we had thought, that's perfectly okay. Let's move on. Let's move on is in one of the big motto. I told my wife in 1998, says, hey, we met. Now, like 2000 around, we agreed. We're never going to fight. Even though we fight, that should not stay after next meet each other. So while we are married, we met each other within a minute. So you shouldn't be angry. So that's the one thing I would like to tell, like, it's the important part of the family. For the technology wise, I would say, I already said it. I want to repeat that. So do not look for something that you get that shortcut path, because the huge competition out there. A lot of people are trying to get a big salary job. And why people will pay you $100,000 or $80,000 or $150,000? They're not going to pay you by seeing you. You need to deliver. You need to provide the support what they hire. And there's two different things, in a career anywhere. There's one called success, another called potentials. So I always make an example. This is that success, potentials. You have to be 45-degree angles to be able to stay in the track. If you're only potentials, no success, that means what? The organization will say, oh, he's trying to do some proof of concept, but it's never going to get success.
Another way you were saying the success is not consistent. It doesn't stay there if you don't, you have to find that barriers of balance.
Yep. You have to have a potential. So I would say anyone, make sure you keep learning. So that way you can provide the potentials and be ready to challenge the world. You're not looking for only the Galib is your competitor, or I am myself is the idols. There is 100,000s of people are every day doing so much. So go out and learn.
Very good. Thank you so much. Do you want to share last thought, Rokeya Bhabi?
So I want to say thank you, and whoever coming new in the IT industry, only one message I can say, that you have to just start and have the courage and also interest and also the passion. And if you have the passion, you will gain it.
All right, perfect. I can't thank enough for being here and sharing your personal journey. We learned a lot about your personal stuff that a lot of people might not know. Thank you for being here, sharing that, and as well as technology tips and suggestions. Thank you. I'll see you both. But for today, just bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Galib. It's a wonderful opportunity.
Bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.